I wanted to
Right.
understand from you, like, what are some of the common therapies which are available?
First of all, whenever we think or someone kind of points us to the fact that maybe there is a mental health issue that you're going through and you should take help, the first thing is to reject the idea because you don't want to accept that something is going on which you are not able to handle on your own. But I think the most easy thing that you can do at that time is to go to a psychotherapist or a psychologist, and essentially you just speak to them. So basically you can chat to them like a friend and tell them your story, and they will help you try to figure out, connect the dots and figure out for yourself where the problem lies or how you can tackle it. So they essentially clear out your thoughts. They take the clouds away. And so the picture is clearer to you. And that is most easily acceptable form of therapy and also most easily available. Though it might seem costly in depending on which city you are and what access you have.
Also, it takes like a lot of time to see any effects. And if somebody is going through mental health issues, then it's difficult for them to, give that much time to
Right.
working
Yes.
on their mental health with a
Yeah,
therapist.
that's very true. Apart from the time itself, sometimes they will give you activities to do which are going to help you. So, for example, in my case, the psychotherapist gave me something called CBT. So that's called cognitive behavioral therapy, which is essentially just trying to observe what in your environment triggers you and then working a way around it with your therapist. So the first step of doing that is to create a daily diary sort of a thing, which every therapist will probably give you a different structure of. But essentially, you record the main events of the day, how they made you feel, and what is your conclusion? Like, why are you feeling this way about this event? So, the problem that I faced a lot, and eventually I fell out of therapy after my first few sessions because of this, is because I could not maintain that diary. My biggest issue was following a routine or being disciplined. So not only was this mental health issue in my mind, it was also affecting my body. So my sleep cycles were not regular, my food intake was not regular. So therefore, there was no discipline or no routine of any kind, such that I will go to her without a weekly diary or, you know. So she had very little to work with. So eventually we stopped seeing each other, but of course on friendly terms. I understood the assignment that what essentially I have to do with like 4 or 5 sessions. And 4 or 5 sessions or 4 or 5 hours of talking is actually nothing, almost nothing. If that can help you, that means psychotherapy is actually powerful.
You're saying four or
Yeah,
five
I know.
sessions.
Just
For me, it
feel
seems like 4 years.
right. Still, I feel like if I had a therapist, it is good to have a therapist if we can afford one on a regular basis. And we feel like we wait for a mental health issue to crop up to go to therapy.
Right.
Generally it's like, oh, it's nothing. We just brush it off as a bad mood or a bad day. But if it keeps happening, the sooner you go to a talk therapist, the sooner you will break your old pattern, which is not serving you, and move forward. Like, the only restriction is the time you can give, the money you have, and your patience. So initially accepting, then trying to do what they are telling you to do, those are the two things which one might struggle with.
In my last episode, we did talk about like having universal therapy because
Hmm.
everybody need a therapist. And here again, like the
True.
stigma is something which one should not worry about because most of us have some traumas. So we kind of
Right.
need to understand how to deal with them and basically understand ourselves.
After I went through therapy and all, I got the courage to tell my parents of a lot of problems that I was facing. But then again, their reaction was, why did you have to go to a therapist? You could have spoken to us. So yeah, those kind of things will keep happening because each generation has their own set of beliefs, and you may not be able to convince anyone and everyone, but you should be able to convince yourself that you need therapy, and when you take it, you will see the difference. Try and be open about talking about it later. People will understand eventually. So
Right.
yeah.
You'll find at least some people around you who will understand. It happened with me also. Once I started therapy, I could then talk to other people also about what I'm going through. Otherwise, it was just all locked up inside. I couldn't
Lot,
talk about it with anyone.
you can't even find the words to talk about it
Right.
and
Yes, you don't even have
the
the.
strength to talk about it. Yeah. I mean, I will just start crying. And the person who asked me will have no idea how to deal with the situation. So it becomes awkward and then there is never any conversation, at least with that person around it. So yeah, I mean, it'll at least give you that much strength that you can talk to the people who are close to you about it, about the problem, and then onward, things will improve.